there's some serious thought, and he's thought this way a long time. And then now she only can't, she's always tolerated, but now she can't because it's not even that he's racist that she's upset about. She's not upset he's racist.
Exactly.
She's upset that she's going to lose her son over it.
I told my mother-in-law, we will never come to your house ever again, right? And your grandkids will never step foot in your house. If you want to see them, you are allowed. You can come to our house or we can meet somewhere.
Alone.
Right? Yeah, alone. He's not invited to any of like events, family activities, birthday parties, nothing. If he comes, I will call the cops.
All the comments. Oh my God, cute little mocha baby.
Mocha little cappuccino. Like
yes.
our kid's not a Starbucks order. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's weird. That's exactly what fetishizing is. It's just adding a flavor to my kid is very, very odd.
Very weird, just like awkward,
Especially
right?
when they smell like poop for like a long
The
time.
majority of this.
Welcome back to Hey There Parenthood podcast. We have these lovely guests with us. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure
Ladies
thing.
first, please.
Thank you. I'm Dominique.
I'm Kolter.
And we are from the, can we say our podcast name?
Yeah.
Is that okay? We are from the Playing House podcast.
And also, we're really hot and cool. So thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you guys here.
Yeah.
I won't lie. I
Colton.
Googled culture.
Yeah.
Like Kulter.
Kulter.
And like a couple rappers might have
Culture?
came up, and I was like,
Really?
who's coming to the podcast, Jeena?
You're like, I know
like
this guy's gone viral.
Cardi
but like,
B was mixed in there somewhere. And I was
What?
like,
Yeah, that-
Culture.
then I see a guy with no culture.
So Kolter.
Yeah.
So you guys have been here in Atlanta, and you got. I mean, have you really gotten to see anything? Did you stop by on the way here?
We
or-
almost didn't see Atlanta. The turbulence. This is how bad it got. I Googled, because I paid the $10 for Wi-Fi. I Googled, has turbulence ever killed anybody? And
You never
I
should have looked that up.
didn't have the stones to read the answers. I just put my phone down and I was
Turbulence will not
like,
kill you. It's just wind. Like, that's all that got me through that. It's just wind. We're not
It
gonna.
is really
we're
windy.
safe. It's
This
just
is the
wind.
windiest
Just
it's ever
wind.
been.
it was
Because
rough.
typically is not that.
It was like up and down and side to side. The whole
Really?
They
thing.
were screaming.
There was
People were
vomiting. The place
Was it
smelled like
bad enough that the seatbelt like felt like a roller coaster, like it actually kept you in your seat?
Well, I made a
Was it
joke
like-
because when you get on, they're like, "Oh, make sure you adjust your seatbelts." And I'm like, "Listen, if we need the seatbelts, I don't think the seatbelts are going to be doing much." And then, because you'd crash, right, and die. But because of the turbulence, like it kept you down. But the place just smelled like a vomit fire afterwards because everybody was getting sick.
Really?
Yes.
Well, especially after hearing about that domestic flight where
Oh my gosh, the part of the
That
plane
was
fell off.
wild.
Yeah.
Yes, and I don't remember what like state it was, but did they fly back to their original like
I think it was like the
destination?
first 20 minutes that happened. Like they were still ascending, and that happened. So they just had to do an emergency landing.
Would you fly back? I'd be like,
I don't know what
I'm
we
going to
would do.
hitchhike. That's safer, right there.
I
I
don't
think
know
I
what
would
I would
have
do.
made you drive. I was like, we're gonna go get a rental car. We'll drive.
drove or something.
Yeah, I don't
They're
think I could
heading
have
to
done
Alaska. Can you drive to Alaska?
it. You could
Yeah.
drive. Yeah,
Oh,
you
okay.
You
can.
go through
Okay.
Canada.
Yeah, you go through Canada. You go through. Yeah, you definitely can.
Okay, so when I started my career in radio, we lived in terrible. This place should not exist. It's called Dawson Creek, not like the show. Not like the show.
Key,
This place
yes.
does not even have running water, I bet, or the color red. And the big attraction about Dawson Creek, British Columbia, is they have the miles zero marker. The biggest attraction in Dawson Creek is this is where the highway starts to get out of Dawson Creek, and that's the Alaska Highway. So like everything in town, like they've got Alaska
Right,
Highway shirts, the Alaska
right.
Highway News.
I forgot about that.
What a wild place.
Yeah, I
truly.
forgot about that.
Did y'all live there?
Yeah.
Or just,
Well,
Whoa,
but
you all lived there?
Survived. We survived there for like a year and a half. Dominique fled a little bit before I did.
Oh my
but
gosh.
I'm sure. Well, I want to know because I've been to some places in Canada.
The answer is 30, by the way.
That's it?
The answer is 30.
So Wikipedia said we counted 7. Oh yeah, we checked. I checked before I got
No,
on
it's
that
racist
plane.
if I counted. You counted. I didn't.
It said you googled it and it said 30, and then when we actually got there, I think the final number we counted, including me, was 7.
See, I like how y'all even knew what the question was going to be before I even asked.
Yeah.
Because people think
Yeah.
it's crazy when I'm telling them, hey, our family is very multicultural. It's diverse. I want to make sure the place that we live looks like it too.
Absolutely.
Right? And so, like, I've been in places in Canada. It feels like I say Drew doesn't notice. He does now. In the beginning, you didn't. And so I'm like, Drew, I was the only
fair.
person. No, you weren't. Were you really?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
babe, it was just, if you want to count the other black people, I guess it would be our kids. But like that was it.
Yeah.
And it was really hard. So I couldn't imagine. I don't think I've ever been to a place that like the town 7.
Not all at once, by the way. That's like in the 9 months that I lived there, I had counted a collective 7.
Wow.
Yes. We went to university together.
Okay.
That's where we ended up meeting. And I was one of 5 Black people in our program. And this is a program of over 100 people, right?
150.
150. So there's 5 of us. And it was just very, very obvious. And we were always treated very differently. To the point where like I walk into the student union or the student lounge, whatever it was called at the time. And I heard somebody talking and they're like, why are the Black girls even in this program? Like we were considered the Black girls because there were only 5 of us.
Because you're a monolith, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like all Black people are a monolith.
We all have
like,
the exact same culture, exact same experiences, bring the exact same things to the table.
But they're not being racist though, right?
Oh, of course not.
No.
They're just
Like,
saying
they're
what's
asking,
true.
listen, Tucker Carlson School of Journalism. I'm just asking questions, right? Just asking questions.
And then you call them out and like all of a sudden, why are you being so...
Why are you being so aggressive?
Like, why are you saying that? Like, it wasn't even like that. And like, you know, I have a family member, like that vague family member that is Black. And
My
like,
cousin has a Black boyfriend.
Yeah, so I can't be racist.
Absolutely.
So in that environment, that's interesting because Gina's told me like her experience at school and that she like people would try to date her just to get it out of the way. Like, hey, I dated someone
out
that was
of the
Black.
way?
Yeah, like to experience that part of life or be like, hey, I dated
Because you're like an
someone Black.
object, right? You're not like a
Right.
human being with
So
like likes
if
and
you're-
dislikes.
My question though, like if you're in that environment, Kolter is there too, right? So like,
yes.
how did that work that you were like willing to give him a chance? Like, was there a dynamic there with that? Because
I had the dorm room.
I had met
You heard
Jeena.
about the dorm room, right? Dominique lived 30 minutes off of campus. I worked at OnStar for a summer and saved up so I could live on campus. I had a meal plan. Yeah, you could sleep over. Your mom got a hold of my room, like the phone in my room. We have landlines because this was like the 1700s.
No.
Props to her.
Very good mother. Okay, make it very clear. She knew.
And then my cell phone number.
Oh, yeah.
How?
Oh, yeah, because she's going to protect me.
Other than the obvious benefits, you know,
Benefits, plural? Oh, right, the meal plan and dorm, right. Yeah.
I mean, the secondhand, you know, odor from the bartending and all that. Like, other than the
grease on the sheets.
In addition to the wet dog. That's the base layer.
What made me open?
come
I'll
on.
be honest. I wasn't open. Like that was the beginning of our relationship. Okay, like we had fun, yes. But okay, so we started off as friends. You invited me to your dorm room. We made jokes and whatever.
Listen, if she was looking at me like I'm looking at her right now, come on. Yeah,
But I was okay. He asked me like, "Come on, just be my girlfriend. Just do it. Just we'll finish each other's insults. We'll what was the line again? We'll finish each other's insults.
You'll call me jackass. I'll cuss and complain, and we'll finish each other's insults.
Absolutely. 'Cause,
That was our live, laugh,
that was
love.
that was our dynamic. But I was like, no, like that. I was not open to the idea of dating outside of my race for the fear of like what my friends would think. If I brought him to my neighborhood, what would they think? Just like I was very, very in my head of thinking I had this huge brand that I needed to protect, which was very much in my mind. But
No, it's not, because I think as Black women, we are told like we should be dating, like,
oh my God,
like Black men, and
Yeah.
like no matter what, no matter like how they treat you, like that's like it doesn't matter who's looking at us or what else. It's always like we should be there for the Black men in our lives, and to date and to have more Black children. At least that's where like kind of like how I grew up, and it's hard because I get it and I don't feel like it's wrong, but it's also
Absolutely.
too hard where, at least for me, it was like I dated a lot of guys of all different races, and it was just like Drew was like the person who I feel like was the most persistent, the one person who
Wore
was,
you down the most? Did you live on campus too? Yeah.
But you were saying,
yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. And like to that point, I think like Black women who choose not to date outside of their race, I understand that too, because of the second part of this, which is also like I wasn't interested in having to teach him, right, and like make that sort of space and like, for example, being in class and like experiencing microaggressions that he might not notice,
Pick up on.
exactly, like hearing things that are like polite racism at the end of the day, and like have to break that down for him. And like you said before, but it's not being racist. Like, it's not that he said that often, but there were moments that I had to teach him, like, listen, this is why I felt uncomfortable. This is the time when I was the only Black person in the room. This is the time when someone said some dumb stuff that nobody spoke up for. And it's like, when you're dating outside of your race or outside of your culture, you do have to make space and educate the person for that. So I understand people who choose not to veer outside of their race.
Because it's a lot of work, like emotional work. It really, really is.
It is.
There's a book I read a couple of years ago by this Toronto-based author, Ian Williams, and it's called Disorientation. And he's a Black man, and he teaches English at a University of Toronto now. But he worked in the States for a while, and he lived out west. And so a lot of the book is talking about, to your earlier point, Jeena, about you're the only one of you kind of in an area, right? Like you're the only, I mean, specifically in this example and in your example, you're the only Black person, and how that can become overwhelming. And it's something that I can read all the books I want. I can talk to all the people I want. We can have a 100-year mortgage in this economy, maybe 100-year marriage. And I would never fully understand. Like, I can sympathize. I can't, by virtue of the color of my skin, empathize. But there's this chapter when he finally moves to Toronto, and Vancouver's not a very diverse place, well, at least in terms of, like, not a lot of Black people live in Vancouver. Toronto's much more diverse. GTA is much more diverse. And how he just, like, cried tears of happiness to see so many people who look like him. And there's another part of his book that speaks to white progressives specifically, people who they go like, well, I'm trying, right? And that should be good enough. And why are people calling me out when I make a mistake? And is teaching white progressives and people in general to learn the difference between, and this is something Dominique and I talk about all the time, impact versus intent, right? Like, you can intend something, but that's not necessarily how you're going to experience it, right? And so white progressives have a particular problem where they don't necessarily want to learn, don't want to have their behavior corrected because, well, at least I'm better than, like, conservatives, for instance, or at least I'm better than this group of people or this group of people.
But they're still not wanting to acknowledge the harm that they're doing because it's better or it's less. And it's just like, that doesn't make it any better. I actually should be expecting more of you because you should be the person that, even if you made a mistake, you'd be like, okay, my bad.
Humble yourself.
I hear you. What can I do to be better? Or I'm sorry, I won't do that again. Let me learn from this. But instead, it's always like, well, why? Like, I was doing better. Like, you can't look at me or you can't say that. Or, like, that's too much. I think you're not seeing the work that I'm doing. I could see the work that you're doing and still acknowledge that you still need to do more work.
It's the difference between, it's like people who are more afraid of people thinking they're racist than being racist. Right? Like, if your energy is spent trying to protect your image instead of just, like, leaning into the work, instead of leaning into actively being anti-racist, then, like, okay, it gets back to the polite racism Dominique mentioned earlier, which is not a thing, but it's what a lot of people engage in, right? Whether they're aware of it or not, it's kind of irrelevant. Like, if you want to do the work, you got to do the work. And the author also talks about, like, it's this symbiotic relationship between, and I'll use our marriage as a perfect example, and I'm assuming it's something very similar. By the way, like, an eerie number of similarities. Meeting, like, 17, 18 years old, long-ass marriage, like, meeting at school, like, a lot of, like, very similar, but our relationship is so trusting and so vulnerable that I know that if I make a mistake, Dominique's going to call me out on that. And Dominique knows that when she calls me out on something, I'm not going to get, like, all defensive about it. I'm going to go, I might feel embarrassed, but, like, lean into the embarrassment. Why do I feel embarrassed? Well, I missed the mark, and, like, I need to do better.
I would say the difference between you guys would be Drew is a defensive person in general. It doesn't have to be just, like, for, like, the racism stuff, but you are always willing to do the work where he'll be defensive and, like, stew in it. I think maybe some of it might be embarrassment, maybe even anger, because you did make a mistake, because he does not like making me feel bad. You don't like letting me down.
Like letting you down, making mistakes. The other thing is I like to take time to think about things as well, and that really bothers Jeena.
So, like, I want
Gina's like, she wants me to, like, jump on
prime delivery
and be like, yeah, you're right. And I'm just,
But he does
by
it with
nature
everything.
not really that way. Like if she tells me something, I want to sit there and be like, but do I have all the facts? You know, and I understand a little bit more now coming from like African American and Black culture. Like you don't have time to sit there and analyze all the facts. You don't
Could
have
be
that,
life and death, right?
you don't have like that privilege to sit back and be like, I wonder if that person was being mean to me.
Allow me to ponder
as
this.
for me with my white privilege, like I have that time and I have time to analyze and think and stop, and I have more comfort and safety with myself and my surroundings. You know, that I like.
Wow.
I have thought about we were talking about being the only Black person in the room. Like there's times I'm the only white person in the room.
Oh, that's
I
what
don't
my
know
mom
if we
thinks.
talked about this or not. But like,
You feel real comfortable around them, and they love him so much.
so I'm
Are you
definitely
also also the bartender?
no.
Because that's me, right? From day one. I'm like, I just want to be useful.
But no, so it is something to where I notice, but like hearing you describe your feelings about being the only Black person in the room, it's just interesting me to hear those feelings, because I do get certain feelings when I'm the only white person in the room, but they're not the same feelings that you're describing to me. It's
What are
just
they?
some of it is just like an awareness of like, this is different. Like I'm just realizing like I think one big thing is like when my kids are around, I'm realizing like, wow, my kids have someone that looks like them to interact with and play with, and that's really nice. And I see this not
like,
special, but
switch.
just different connection that they have with these kids than they do other kids. And then for myself, it's just it's kind of like I like to just sit back and watch a little bit and see how your family interacts and stuff like that. Like, and so the feelings are more of just like a curiosity. I think comfort would be a good one. Like it's just a comfortable I don't feel unsafe.
I'm really jealous
like, you know
right
what
now.
I mean? Like
Because
I don't
my family
feel,
are going to eat this up. They're going to watch this and be like, this is why we love Drew. This is why we love him.
like I feel like I can speak my mind, and like they're gonna rag on me about it and make jokes and stuff like that. And
But they
be
make
like,
you feel
invite
part
you
of
in.
us.
But yeah, it just feels like part of the family and stuff like that.
That's
so
beautiful.
it's for me it's just a completely different dynamic. Where it is different, like I do notice that difference. Like I key in and be like, oh, like I am like you guys count people. I like count people and be like,
Absolutely.
oh, like it's me, you know. But then like you know, and I think your family has done really good though. That any reservations I've had or any times I've been scared.
Scared of
It
what?
just how people are going to perceive me, how I'm going to come across. If being the only white person there, I am going to be the target of, because the culture we live in and society of like, here's the person like
You're kind of an avatar for
Yeah,
white people
yeah.
in that moment, right?
avatar for what?
You're an avatar for white people, like we talked earlier
Right,
about.
right.
Like,
Are they going to
you're
judge me
expected to be a
based on
monolith.
like
Sure.
other white people and stuff like that? And so, but they've always done a good job of just treating me like part of the family and stuff like that. And so, you know, but I feel like it's just a complete 180 compared to what you guys are describing me of your
Yes.
situations.
But
you know?
I do feel like one of the things that you've done that you even did with like my dad, which is a huge difference than like my sister's like husband did, that you are always willing to go up to anybody and just chat with them, and really like to the point where I don't like sitting with Drew on the plane because any person
You're
he's
that
sitting next to, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
like I know where they
Y'all
live,
would've
I know
hated me
how
on
their
the plane.
kids.
You would have been in that turbulence. Like,
Invited to
I would have been
wedding.
like, you okay? Are you what
What's
you
your
need over
body
there?
saying?
Like,
Yeah.
where you from? And you're like, oh, leave me alone.
Ooh, smells like somebody had chili dogs for lunch today.
And he will just talk with you and joke around, and you are so good with that because my sister's husband, he would like when they were dating, come into the house, go into her room, not a peep. And my dad said one of the things that he loved about Drew was that I would be in the like living room or the kitchen, and Drew would just walk away from me and go into my dad's room because my dad's like watching soccer in his bedroom, and he's like, "What are you watching? Who's winning? Whose side are you picking?" Like, keep asking
20
my
questions.
dad so many questions. But my dad was like, you know what? I could tell that Drew genuinely cared about like fostering a relationship, and you do that with the rest of my family members so much so that I think that they could feel that you were not just making a relationship because you're like Gina's like
box.
spouse.
Yeah.
It's like you really care. Like you care about Nadia. You care about like all my. You know so much so that I think we had a birthday party for one of our kids, and the day of, true Haitian style, was like, hey, we having a party at this time. You want to show up? The day of, and they're like, nah, man. Like we got like it's Saturday. We got church. And he's like, okay, cool. The next birthday party, we got 4 more kids. And when we had a Christmas party, like at one of my cousin's house, and they're like, we just love you. The day of, in true Haitian style, you were late to invite us the day of and everything.
Nice.
And they loved him for that. And I was like, I got onto him so much. I'm like, you don't do that, babe. Like you needed they need to be able to buy gifts, plan, work, all this stuff. He's like,
Yeah, heavy on the gifts.
no.
Save up, get a
We
second
do
job.
not like
we
gifts.
want something nice.
We despise our house is so full of toys, especially between grandparents. We're over gifts.
Listen
We're
up.
begging
Could you
people.
listen up? Could you
Me?
listen with wide
Or your-
open
your
ears right now?
parents?
No, you right now.
Oh.
And you could text my mom. We'll grab your phone. We'll FaceTime my mom. I get you on the gifts because it's
It's
just
a
like
lot.
you got to buy another house for all the gifts. The days of just letting them play with the box that the stuff came
I
in, right?
know.
And you're like, oh, I
That was
paid
more
140.
fun.
I overpaid for like what Gabby's dollhouse, whatever, and she just wanted the box that it came in.
Yeah.
Amazing,
Did y'all
great,
get into
cool.
that craze too? The Gabby's House.
Oh,
Oh, she had her second birthday was a Gabby's
That's a
dollhouse.
cult. Gabby's dollhouse is a
No,
cult.
it ain't.
It's a cult.
No, I mean, I
The way these
love
kids get
Gabby. I
addicted.
love her
I
hair,
do- I
her
love
face,
her.
and it was so nice because who was it? Was it Cal who, when she saw Gabby, it's like it looks
Yeah.
like me. Her curls look like me, and she was obsessed with Gabby Dollhouse.
Yes.
We had everything, and now our youngest, who's 2. Penguin is obsessed with Gabby Dollhouse as well.
Do you still have the toys from when you bought them originally?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
And
Don't
so
even
he-
bother wrapping them.
Yeah,
It's just like the dust. You dust off the bin and like, there you go.
yeah. Next.
You go to
No,
town.
but
Absolutely.
when you leave, because this man's about to go on a cruise.
Yeah, you
8
mentioned
days.
that.
I'm gonna be alone
Alone
with
with
my
kids.
kids.
I was gonna say I don't think you're ever alone, but
No, it's gonna be. I'm gonna feel alone because we tag team a lot, and Drew
Well, what
puts
she's
the
not
kids to
telling
bed.
is like the baby, the 2-year-old, he like is all over me. Like he doesn't want
man.
mom, he wants dad. I
Yeah.
need to
I'm
put
not
him
the
to
primary
bed.
parent for him, which I'm glad.
So that's what's going to be
Beautiful.
interesting. Is by like day 2 or 3 if he's going to like have a meltdown because I'm not there.
Oh my
When
gosh.
you're not there and I have to put him to sleep and do stuff, he's completely fine, and I'm the favorite, right? But then as soon as Drew puts his foot in the door,
Oh, that's it.
he
That's
runs
it.
away. I've had it where we both walk in the door at the same time, and he will run right past me.
Oh no.
Just to hug Drew, and I'm just like, okay, I carried you for 9 months, almost died, had gestational diabetes, on bed rest.
you're like, did you want a literal knife to stab me? There you
Yeah,
go.
like nurse you for like how many months? 13 months, and like run right past me,
No, we'd have problems.
right past me, and
We'd
it's
have
like
absolute
always
problems.
like
Cut him out of the will.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Done.
But it is nice now because I'm not the primary parent. Anything goes wrong, Daddy. I'm like wakes up in the middle of the night,
Have fun.
Daddy. Go ahead. And he wakes up a lot too.
Yeah. I think the worst thing is just sharing food. It's just like, what are you eating, dad?
Oh,
Here.
I like
My
chicken
lord.
too.
Like I was trying to
already
eat
know.
last night, and every time I went to take he had to sit in my lap, and every time I went to take a bite, he just moved like this, and it would just knock my fork, and I'd just be like, calm, let's try this again. And I was just like, okay, get out of my.
This is when gentle parenting. He's
Yeah.
like really testing.
every morning on the way to daycare, because you talk about splitting it, like because of our hours and Dominique works from home, I drop our daughter off. We get ready together in the morning. We read a couple books. We color sometimes. We sing some songs in the car. It's a 15-minute drive to daycare. And I like to have a Quest protein bar. Quest, please sponsor this podcast. And it's gotten to the point she wants one as well, or she wants to split it. And it's like, well, no, daddy needs the macros. Okay, daddy needs the protein. And it's to the point where like she could be 2 blocks away and she'll hear the rustling
Oh,
of
yeah.
the wrapper.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when you like pull it out of the cupboard and can I have a bar, Dad? Can I have a bar?
It's the worst. I've gotten to the point now. I don't even, if they ask, I just hand it over. I don't want to have the argument. I don't want them staring at me with their doe eyes. Go.
Have a Coors
it.
Light. Have to. Don't drive though. That's where Mommy draws the line.
They really do. They have no sympathy for us.
Yeah.
Oh, that does not exist.
No.
You're
absolutely
outnumbered.
not.
That's why we stopped at 1. It's like there needs to be a 2-on-1 advantage.
Yeah.
Like,
We didn't
you're
learn that.
outnumbered.
We didn't
They've
learn that lesson.
unionized.
We
Yeah, you can't.
gotten too far. It's like, let's just keep going.
Going. It's nice to be outnumbered.
It's It's like the movie Norma Ray. One of your kids is Sally Field, and she's unionized all the other workers. You guys own the textile mill, and they're just like, that's it, we're breaking out.
Who would it be if we had to pick a kid out of all of our kids that would like get them all together and unionize? Who would you think?
It would be, well, I mean, I want to go with Badger, but it's actually Panda because he's the reason I won the election a couple years ago.
I saw that. When's
He's
the
the-
re-election, by the way? That was 3 years
It needs
ago.
to be this year. It needs to
Yeah.
be
No,
this year.
y'all don't even
Yeah.
understand. One
It's
of our
been a
girls
while.
cried
It's been a while.
when they realized they made a
Because
mistake.
They voted for me.
No.
Like,
This is what you
legit.
get for voting for the white man.
She cried because she's like, but I thought, and I was
I
just
thought you were
like,
gonna do this. I was like, no, he lied to you. That's what
I
politicians
didn't
do.
lie. I
think
That's
you're
what
right.
they do. Who was it? Was it Tiger who started crying? It
it
was
was
her.
Badger. No, it was
Oh,
Badger.
it was
Badger.
her. You really hurt her feelings when you lied because you said you were
I
gonna do all
sweetened
this
I
stuff.
sweetened everyone else up with candy.
You built
like
a
I had
wall around
Crunch
the
Bar
second
for you,
floor.
Crunch Bar for you, Jolly Rancher for you. And Badgers are a child that like she doesn't care about sweets.
She does not.
So her older brother was like, "Hey, you vote with me. We vote for Dad. I'll make sure like we get a Switch and like we get to play more games on electronics
You
and stuff."
with a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god.
And so it
what
was
did I
just
say?
like-
Disney? Yeah,
You
I
were
said
way,
Disney.
you were way behind. You were like dance
Disney
parties and
World?
Disney.
I told him Disney World because we had not been in Disney
Yeah.
World at that point yet, and so I was like, "I'll take you to Disney."
And they
And I mean,
chose a Switch?
I may have like had a secret meeting with the oldest child saying we were going to go to Disney either way.
Wow.
And so there was some
Dirty
like
politics.
backdoor politics
Wow.
there that I went hardcore.
And they learned their lesson
Yeah.
because now they never choose Juice side. Anything happens, like Joel will be like, you know how you like joke around with our kids and he's like kissing you or attacking, and as soon as I call like, kids help me, they will all jump on. They don't trust him anymore. They're like, what does mom say? And they're like,
But who's president? But
Yeah.
who
Gun
is
shy,
president?
right? They're gun shy.
so we're gonna need to have another election. We'll
Wait,
see
it
because they don't
needs-
trust you no more.
It needs to be this year.
You need to
We
do
need
that
to do
thing
it
that
this
all
year.
politicians do where they're like, the economy can't afford it anymore, folks, right?
Well, now,
Budget.
so the thing is I've been president for so long now that anything good that we do is attributed to my
Nice.
presidency.
They're like, the economy's
just-
good, gas is
I've
cheap,
just
I don't
been
know.
waiting for re-election to be like, do you remember when we went on that Disney cruise? Who was president? And they're going to be like, but that was mom. I'm going to be like, but who was
during my
president?
reign.
Look at what has
Exactly.
happened
Yeah.
to my presidency.
Yeah.
Like, really, guys. You know,
Cue the
like,
insurrection
you know,
all of a
even-
sudden.
You know, even the birth of our latest child was during my presidency.
So you're taking credit for that?
I'm taking full
Yikes.
credit. I am. You wait.
Yikes.
You'll be pregnant for the
You
next
know how
kid.
long you have given me to plan my campaign? You don't understand. You don't understand.
He takes this way too seriously. This is why I probably lost because the kids know, like they know that I would never like treat them badly.
I have even thought about.
Wait, they think that I'm calling Child Protective Services.
You know,
That's a yikes from me,
see, I
dog.
have even thought about where most presidential candidates go wrong is they can only be president. I'm okay with being VP as long as
no,
I
I
get
want
the
you
right
as my
president.
president.
So I've even thought about
I'd have the baby.
For you, never for Panda. I'm gonna put Panda up for president.
They know
and
who would
I'll
vote for
be-
him.
and then
Are
I'll
you
be the
kidding me? The
VP,
girls would-
and I'll just be pulling the
girls
strings.
would
It's like
never
a
vote
shadow
for him.
presidency.
The puppet.
Shadow
the
because-
president
presidency.
Yeah.
like picks on them. The girls would never pick him for president.
You let me know when the election is, and I'll make sure he butters them up for months.
But hold on, if you're the
Months.
president, you just go like, we're not going to have any more elections. I don't know.
I mean, that's what it's been.
You're all
This-
tired of voting,
It
right?
has been a dictatorship so far, but you know, I like the farce. I like the farce
Benevolent
that there's an
dictatorship.
election.
Benevolent dictatorship.
So talking about CPS, we've actually had someone
Ooh,
try.
Don't point at me when you say CPS. I'm leaving.
We've had someone call CPS on us because they don't like our family. They'll be like, I don't like that daughter needs a white mom.
Whoa.
Yeah.
No,
oh.
specifically, it wasn't our family. Specifically, they didn't like the way that you were like dancing in front of the white daughter.
Yeah.
No, they got very specific.
Yeah, it was a TikTok.
Like-
Remember, like back in 2020, where it's like that ABC song, but it's like the kind of hood one, right?
yeah.
And there was this like white mom who was like dancing in front of her kids, and her kids were like, "Yeah, mom, let's go." So I did the same exact one, but I was sexualized, right? It's too much. You
because
shouldn't be doing that
black
like in front of the
bodies,
kids. And so then
absolutely.
someone's like, "Your white daughter, she didn't care about my other kids."
Oh, good. Good.
right?
Good.
No, she didn't work. She was only focusing on my white daughter, and she's like, she doesn't need to see that. This is why she shouldn't have a black mom. So I'm like, you are so worried. Like, why is it like you're not worried about my other kids? Like, why is it that you're only focusing on my white daughter?
Doesn't that give away the game right there, though?
Right?
Doesn't that give away the game right there?
And so she's like, they actually call CPS on us? I'm trying to think. I feel like they did. We had like someone like reach out to us and everything. And then they're like, yeah, we have to, but like
it's like getting swatted.
Right? And it's ridiculous because it's like people are so uncomfortable. So uncomfortable with like me and being her mom, and they're like uncomfortable with what I do and what I teach her. And I'm just like, you are uncomfortable and there's a reason, and it's just me because you don't have any issues with other adoptive parents.
Absolutely.
It's just like projecting their own feelings.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say like maybe the real insecurity is I'm not that fun with my kids. Maybe the real insecurity is my kids don't love me as much as your kids seem to love you. Maybe the
I wish
real
it was that, but
insecurity.
it's not that.
Comfortable in my
No,
body.
but that's how it's manifesting is I'm just gonna be like a racist ass, right?
That's true.
I'm gonna call CPS on you because I want to rescue this child. Like it's like you said a second ago, Drew. It's projection. It's insecurity.
Yeah, but it's hard because it's like it's affecting our life. It's
Yeah.
making her feel
course.
othered because she should be able to grow up in a family where it's just a mom and a dad, right? And it's not just a mom and a dad. Like she does have a black
Loving
mom.
caregivers.
She does have a
Yeah.
white dad, but we love her. We're related. Like we're biologically related. She's related to her siblings and stuff like that. And like we're a family. We've always been family, but people are just so angered at the fact that we don't look alike that it just makes them. If I do anything that's different or something that maybe might be slightly, I don't even think it was inappropriate because this other lady did the exact same TikTok, exact same thing, and people were praising her in the comments. And not that I had an issue that they were
And it was
doing that.
viral too. It wasn't like
Like a little
it was
thing.
like
It was a
everywhere.
viral video that I created. Mine went viral too, so it wasn't. But mine went viral for a completely
wrong
different
reason.
reason. A completely different reason. While people were praising her in the comments, she was like uplifted. Mine was like, you shouldn't be doing that in front of your kids. Like, what is your white daughter? Like, why does she have to be exposed to that? And it was always just like singling her out. And I'm like, if this was inappropriate in general, then all the kids shouldn't have seen this, right? It should have been all of them. Like all of your kids, they shouldn't. But it was just, hey, she shouldn't see this. Why is she exposed to this? And then I realized, like, hey, I could be doing we already know this, right?
Absolutely.
I could be doing the exact same thing as another woman, but if I am doing it in a certain way, right? And I
it's
say certain
sexual
way.
or loud or aggressive.
Exactly. And that was extremely frustrating because I'm like, this is not to say like I can't do wrong because I'm a human being.
Absolutely.
And I can make a mistake, but like that was not a mistake. That was not a reason for someone to call up and have someone sent to our home to check on the well-being of my child. Because that was something that another person did and like they received no hate for it.
First of all, I'm sorry. Because as a mom, like you can make fun of me, you can bully me, you can say all the things in the world
Don't
about
though.
me.
That's my wife.
Don't ever
Don't be mean to her.
speak poorly about my parenting. Like that, to me, that is the worst thing anybody could ever say to me. Because like somebody speaking bad about your insecurities is hard enough, and knowing that you can never be the perfect parent, and that's the part of my life at least that I want to perform the best in, and then somebody challenging that and claiming that I'm not trying my absolute best, that there's nothing worse you could ever say to me. So I'm truly so sorry that anybody would ever take to the internet or like just have the bravery to say that kind of nonsense to you. Secondly,
Take a sec.
no, because like, secondly, what you were saying about another woman being able to do those things and being able to get away with it, it's that I feel like that's blackness as a whole, right? Like when we talk about blackness, like there isn't a monolith of black culture. There are different types of black culture. For example, you're American, I'm Canadian. We have very different cultures at the end of the day.
Like shoes on in the house, right? We'll get into that later. But like, yeah, I was like, shoes, they're on. Okay.
Also, we're Caribbean, right? So there's different culture there. Absolutely, right? But even looking at, okay, we have Carnival in the Caribbean, right? It's not seen as like this over-sexualized thing. It's just a celebration. It's a celebration against colonialism and freedom and all these beautiful things. But then you take in the white gaze, and white gaze as in G-A-Z-E or Z-E, depending on the country. And then it becomes something sexual, it becomes something wrong, something that should be like put aside. You look at like hairstyles, for example. A white woman can go into the office and a messy bun. Oh, that's cute. How did you do that? Dry shampoo and stuff like that. We go to the office and have a TWA, for example, or like a twist out.
oh, like, how does your hair get to be like that? What did you do?
And
like,
can
can't
I
you
touch
straighten
it?
it?
Can I get
or
my
is it
hands
always
in
like
it?
that?
This
How
is a
long did that
corporate-
take?
This is a corporate space. We need a more professional looking hairstyle. And I know in some states it's still illegal.
Oh, yeah.
It's still legal
too.
Absolutely.
Some
it's still
schools
legal
here, like there was one in Texas, right? That told a kid like he could have dreads in his hair.
Ridiculous.
Didn't they cut them off? Or was that in Toronto?
There was a school. I don't
Auburn,
think.
Alabama had an issue with that. You know that, right?
No.
And one of the kid keeps getting kicked off the wrestling team because he won't cut his hair.
Yes. And so
And
there's
that's like
footage.
a couple hours like west of here.
Yeah. Well, you lived in like Opelika. That's like, I mean, Drew went to Auburn University and like lived around that area. And I'm not surprised. Like, I don't want to say it in, it's going to be how it sounds is going to sound. But
It's just a smaller, closed-minded towns around there. Like the university itself brings a lot of diversity. I think like
That's
most
what
universities, but when you get outside of that, it is a lot more closed-minded.
so did y'all have any family members like wonder or question about how your daughter was going to look like? And I think you already know what I'm talking about before I even get there.
Yeah.
Have you had like those conversations with family members?
No, my family wasn't like, oh, I wonder what color she's going to be, and your family
really?
wasn't necessarily like the same thing. I would say
Do
it
you
was
think
more
you
from
would have
like,
noticed if they were really asking that? Would you have recognized what they were truly asking?
yeah, because I call that out. I think it was more from like coworkers, more from friends that are just like, oh, this is a fun little game, fun little guessing game, right? And you're like, no, it's just like this is a human, right? This is a human fetus, and it will be a baby eventually, and it's not like an object. It's not a car. What color do I want this car to be, right? It's not a paint job. It's frustrating. I don't like that question.
I don't like the question. I mean, but if we
I
did
don't know
get
if
it,
my mom ever asked that question,
No,
but
she
she
never
started.
did.
She started sending me pictures of mixed babies.
Oh, yeah.
Be like, this is so cute. Look at this baby.
Well, and it's like this.
You
and
know, and so it's like,
It's
do I
weird.
like encourage that? Like,
Yeah,
it comes back
Or
to
do I
intent
be like,
versus
you know,
impact.
you know,
Yeah.
Is she doing it in a malicious way? I mean,
She
I don't
was.
know.
Probably
no,
not.
she wasn't, because I know who she is, and I know she would do anything for her grandbabies. But it still did make it feel uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
And it's hard because I know the intent behind it was just because she was so excited.
Yeah. Absolutely.
She
And you
was
wanna
so
talk about
there was
it
this
and-
like this was the first grandbaby she was actually going to be a part of,
Mm-hmm.
because her oldest son lived so far away that she didn't get to be for any of this. So she was overly excited,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that she loves me. We fight a lot, like a lot, but I know she loves me. That's not even a question. I'm not trying to say that. Like, it's like how like you can tell someone loves you, but you butt heads a lot. That's
Sure.
me and Drew's mom. But
Well,
like,
don't look at me when you nod your head.
but
you love someone and want to kill them.
You know who was really mad at the look of our baby? Do you know who I'm gonna say?
who?
Grandma Harris. She was really angry because
Who's grandma?
Your grandma?
My grandma, yeah.
She was really angry because the baby was not dark enough. She's like, I don't want another Drew. I want more babies looking like Drew.
You're in therapy,
No,
right?
I want more babies
yeah.
looking like Jeena. She's like, Jeena has a beautiful skin. And so I was really shocked that she said it, and a little bit uncomfortable. But she's like, no, Jeena, I love your skin, and I love how you look. And she's like, you're just so gorgeous. I honestly think my grandson was lucky to grab you, and I want more kids that look like you than look like Drew. And it felt weird, but also it bonded me, because I honestly kept thinking I would have so many family members from his side of the family who would say, do you think they'll be that dark? And like be kind of uncomfortable. And she was like fully like, no, I want like my grandbabies to look like you.
Embraced it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I hope they have curly hair like you, and like maybe Drew smartness, because she would joke around. And stuff. But if they look like you, I'll be so lucky, because I'll like get to show them everyone, like, look at my grandbabies, look how cute, like look at this woman who like grew these grandbabies for me, like I get to show them off. And she did, like, until the day she died, we would send like pictures to her every month, and she'd go to the nursing home. She didn't even live at the nursing home, but she would show up to the nursing home
Do a drive-by.
and show everybody like her grandbabies. And like people after she passed away, they were like, oh, she loved your kids. Every single time she'd come to the nursing home, she would show us pictures of her kids and everything. And it was like nice, because we would get so many people just asking us like, oh, do you think they'll be that dark? They'll have the curly hair and the exotic features, but they'll be light, right?
Ask yourself, like, if you're tempted to say that, ask yourself, would I say that to a couple that is like that they're both white or they're both black, or they're like, it's a like a homogeneous
I
couple.
think that's the word. Yeah,
No, would you send pictures of random babe? Like, no, you wouldn't do that.
It's a weird thing to do. I definitely got there's like one thing in online, all the comments, oh my god, cute little mocha baby.
Mocha little cappuccino.
yes.
Like, our kid's not a Starbucks order, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's weird. That's exactly what fetishizing is. It's just adding a flavor to my kid is very, very odd.
Very weird, just like awkward.
Especially
right?
when they smell like poop for like a long
The
time.
majority of this,
You're carrying around your feces, right? You're like, I don't want to. Don't ruin Starbucks for me
you know, maybe that's what they want to do.
because it's so expensive. Hey, they're just trying to save us money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so that was online, and then like family and friends. Not so much family, but not so much friends, but there were family, and I will not call them out. Definitely got
nice.
like the pictures. Like, oh, do you think that should look like this? And it's like, okay, this is a very light skin.
Are you going to talk about the comment we got at my cancerversary party?
I don't remember this.
Okay, I'm not going to name this person either.
Okay.
But they had said, and like I think in like a loving way, it came off like really cringy. This person said, "Oh, well, like white and black, like that's the perfect mix. It's like the perfect race."
I wasn't even referring to
right?
that,
And
but
it
yeah,
just
that
like,
was
like,
weird. That was
physically cringing. Just
But what
like,
do they mean by that?
What does that mean?
Is that because it was on the extreme of the other end? Like,
What do you mean?
Like trying really hard not to be racist.
like
and
yeah,
against?
like the opposite.
Yeah.
Like racist would be like that's like the lowest of the low. The opposite would be like that's the perfect. Like that's the
But that's in a way like
You know, is
kind
that
of
why it
pedal,
was
like
but is
putting
that
us
why
on a
it was
pedestal.
cringy?
It's also
where,
weird.
and then I still feel like that's wrong, and actually not. I
Yes.
feel like it's wrong. I don't feel like we're better because we're in an interracial couple. Like I just feel like this is
You're better
someone.
because you're like funny and smart and attractive and good parents
I don't
and
think we're even
have a
that
beautiful
funny.
home.
I realize every single day, especially going on TikTok, where I see people who are hilarious. I'm like, my dream when I was a kid to be a comedian died because I realized, yeah, okay, so people used to be like, Jeena, you're hilarious.
What do they say now? You suck. You're not funny.
No, I
Call
realize
Child Protective Services.
people still think I'm funny, but I also realize it's a cultural thing, right? Caribbean people are funny. So
We're
then I
funny, and it's a whole other
and
level
it's like
of funny.
comes naturally, right? And then I
Yes.
realize I'm not funny. I'm just Caribbean.
I want that on a
Put that on a shirt. Yeah. Merchandise. We're going
There's
50-50
your
on
merch.
that.
Yes.
Right? And so then
that's trademark here,
once
by
you
the way.
learn that, once you learn that it's like not that you're like special and like really funny, and it's just like everybody else in my family is funny, and then it loses like it's like. I don't know. I lost
Take
my
the
fire.
win, Jeena.
I'm not
Take the wins
funny,
where you
and I
can get 'em.
stumble on my words a lot. So then I lost it. I left that, and I was like, okay, well, let me just be a mom. And
I'm sorry, just a
be
mom. Canceled.
I know y'all gonna come for me, but I do my job well, so y'all can't even say nothing about me. I love my kids. I mean, literally, I think people can tell, and then what they can tell is not even enough. I truly will do. I will go without sleep. I will pay whatever I need to pay. Drew, you know, whenever my kids annoy me or they like make a bad choice, my punishment to them is like, I'm writing this in my journal, so that if you choose to give me grandbabies, we're teaming up, and then I'm gonna tell them all the stuff that you ever did to me.
The long
Right?
game.
And so then that way they can do it to you, and so
Whoa.
that's your consequence.
Psychological warfare.
So then I also did tell them too, this is their favorite, and I don't know why. I joke around, so I don't. Am I gonna do this? Actually, I don't know. I do have a journal with this stuff. I don't know if I'm gonna use it.
You hold on.
have a
Reading
journal.
kids'
But it
journal?
is cute. Actually, it's really nice to look back on the stuff that they've done because it is really cute.
Hold on. You're reading your kids'
No,
journal?
no, she's writing.
No,
a
No,
journal.
my
journal.
journal. This is my
Okay.
journal of all the things that the kids did, like bad choices that they made, but then also they're cute, like bad choices that they made, because nothing that they ever do is like really that bad, because they're so cute. But I told them every single time they do something wrong, I was like, yep. That's another toy I'm gonna buy my grandbaby at Disney, because we're all going to Disney, and every single time you tell me no, I can't buy that for my grandbaby, I'm gonna buy two.
Wow.
And so our oldest son, one time he did something, he was like rude, but then he stopped himself. He's like, "That's another toy, isn't it, Mom?" I'm like, "Yep, yes it is."
They learned. They know. But also, like, one of your kids is going to say, I want to try rock climbing, and you're going to buy them Mount Rushmore. Climb up on Roosevelt's head.
I'd let them go visit. We'll take a family trip to Mount Rushmore. And then we would like illegally cross the lines, and then
Nice.
we can like maybe rappel
That'll
down.
end well,
Off the
probably.
record.
That'll
Off
end
the
well.
record. Across the line.
For legal reasons, all jokes.
So yeah, I'm the mom that like Drew keeps me in line, but I'm the mom who would go above and beyond. And I like that. I want them to know that I would do that because I know how it feels to have a parent who wouldn't do that for you, right?
Yeah,
and yeah, I know how it feels to have a parent who won't joke around with you because I think my kids know I'm halfway joking, but they also know that how I treat them
you will
is
snap
exactly
them in half if they step out of line, right?
I'm a gentle parent. So like we talk everything out and I know they're so exhausted. It's like, this is another lecture, Mom. Like this is a horror. And I love talking to them. And I'm like, do you really understand? You don't? Well, let's wrap it around again. Cause it's like, I don't want to yell.
The thing is though, we have good kids and you also command authority with your voice too.
Yeah, but I don't yell.
So,
that's a really big thing.
Yell.
Can I
Can
hear what like the authoritative, like not in a weird way or anything, but like what does it sound like? What does it sound like? I need to know.
Okay, Kolter. No, I don't know.
It sounds like. Do you guys want to go mudding or something?
No, I can't even do it. But was it?
We'll go get spray tans.
Was it? I don't remember how long ago was it. It was like a couple of years back. But I told them, I'm not yelling anymore. There's no point in yelling because I know if I yell, you will listen, but not because you want to do it or not because you understand. It's just because you're afraid, and that's not going to teach
I think
you.
a good example is like Panda's definitely preteen. And last night you were like at the sink and you were saying something. He walked away, and you were like, you're like. I have to say it without the name. Let's see. You're basically like, Panda, I am still talking to you. I am not done. And he stopped in his track and he turned around and he said, okay.
Yeah, but he didn't say okay like that. He said okay with the sassiness, and I let that go because he's in the preteen stage, and I know that they need to. Yes, I'm. But it's really,
it's not yelling. It's just it's just like because we do joke around with the kids, and usually we're fun.
There's still to be boundaries, right? There's the mom and dad.
So Jeena is phenomenal at firm boundaries. So they know when they've crossed that boundary that she like reacts with that a little bit more like firm voice of just like, hey, I'm not done talking.
Right.
And it's like, oh man, I crossed that boundary. Boom. Let's get back in that boundary.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm interested to see like as teenagers how we navigate that.
It'll be easier, I think.
My thing as a parent is like newborn to 1 year old, that's Gina's territory. Once they can play with me and we can play at 1 year old, that's my game. And then you can have them at like 11.
That's actually, listen, like at first I was like, I don't know.
I don't want to deal with like the teenager, like our girls are starting to get emotional and I'm already having to start to like check myself and make sure I'm not just reacting to their emotions. You know, because Badger, she will flip on a switch already. She's starting to get to that really like preteen angst and like everything will be fine. And then like maybe a fly like flies on that table and she just goes like,
I get it.
And it's really hard for me not to be like, are you okay? What's wrong? Like,
but that's not what you do.
Stuff.
Like,
no.
Hey, is your arm broken? Let me cut it off. Are you okay? Let's get another sandwich.
But that's also adults, right? Like if I skip a Vyvanse, I'm like, oh, I'm like having trouble dealing with everything. And why is that? Fly in the corner of the room.
Yeah, so they're starting to get into like needing to regulate a little bit more. And we can't, like as a toddler, like you can play it off. And that's my area. Like I love just playing it off. And like, yeah, that does hurt. But like,
distract them from the issue.
Like that hurts. It's okay. You're okay. Okay, let's move on.
Absolutely.
You will experience so much pain later in life that will make this seem like nothing. So don't worry about it.
But I just know the time is coming and it's almost already here where I can't do that. And I think I'm just like,
why not though? And I'm not saying at the chat. I'm just like curious.
Why not?
Our daughter's almost 4. And
because it's a boundary they've started to create for themselves, and then I'm crossing their boundaries, and so now I've got to start respecting those boundaries that they're creating.
I'm so glad you brought that up though, because what did I miss over here?
And as long as it's a healthy boundary, I want to respect that. Because I didn't have good boundaries growing up in my family, and so I have to check. You check me sometimes on that.
I'm really big on boundaries.
If it's healthy boundaries, they're developing. Like even my oldest son, if he doesn't want to wrestle, like growing up for me, that wasn't an option. Like if someone older than you was wrestling,
you're
like you defend yourself.
Gonna grind their knuckles into your head.
Right. Yeah. Like you just, it's this. But like when we're wrestling and stuff, he's like, okay, I'm done. Stop. Like that's it. Then like that's a boundary he's creating to stop. And I want to.
That's beautiful.
You know,
that's beautiful.
Even hugs, which sucks because I love to bite and hug on my kids so much. And our oldest son, he'd be like, I'm like, can I give you a hug? No, I'm good. Yeah, cool. I'm good too. Like I really.
You're just like,
you're not even cute. I don't even like like you like that. Well, and that's what I was going to bring up is consent is so important, and
Yeah.
bodily autonomy is so important. And we've all like had the, you know, the grandparent with like a mole with a long hair coming out of it, and it brushes against your cheek, and you're like, oh God, I gotta hug Uncle Steve, God.
Or get yelled at if you don't want to hug them. Like, you have
100%. And
manners.
that's big
Go
in the
hug
Caribbean
them.
households too,
Absolutely,
right?
because
You know.
that's manners. You're my elder. I'm gonna come. I'm gonna hug you. I'm gonna show you and give you your time. If I don't want to do that, I don't have to put my body against yours. When we really think about that, why are we making little children
It's
do
weird.
that? Right?
So we'll say like, Nia, like, can I give you a hug? I mean, if she comes over to me, like, give me a hug, I'm your dad, give me a hug, you're your mom, give me a
But
hug.
still, if you don't want to,
100%.
I
But like,
understand.
it's really important that we teach our kids autonomy, and it's heartbreaking when they're like, I don't want to hug right now, or like, you know, I'll put her to sing her to sleep, right, and I'll give her a kiss on the head, and she goes, I didn't tell you give me a kiss, and I'm like, you know what?
You're right.
Homie, you're right. Like, I'm so sorry. And then she'll go, but you can give me a kiss, and I'm like, yes, thank God.
I've got a trick that's working so
What?
far.
Don't say, because if they watch this, they're gonna like know your trick.
Yeah, you need to like blacklist. You need to get rid of the internet. Number one, with kids. Blacklist
So
YouTube.
I think it'll be okay because they know what I'm doing anyway. They're smart. They know what I'm doing. So in the past, I'd be like, do you want a hug? Right? I'll be like, oh, do you want a hug? And now they're getting to the point that they're like, no, I don't want a hug. So
They're
like,
Dad, I think Dad wants one.
yeah,
kind of moping around a little
that's
bit.
it. So like,
Sad sack.
Badger wasn't feeling well. Like she really was upset, and I was like, do you want a hug? And she's like, no. And I was like, okay. So I took a moment and I was like, I would really like to give you a hug. May I give you one? And she's like, yeah, you can.
Oh.
And so we embraced for a moment, and she, you know, did that sigh and everything. So that's worked.
I know
at the
it works,
moment.
but it doesn't work often.
No, it doesn't. And I don't do that every time. And I felt she was really hurting.
But you know where you learned that from, right?
Where?
You learned that from me.
From myself?
From me.
I've
myself.
been on this journey of self-awareness, and
Whoa, journey of
I just wanna
gaslighting is what it
credit-
sounds like.
No, that was from me. Because whenever we fight, the very
Yeah.
first thing is like, can I give you a hug? I'm like, I don't need a hug.
I'm not ready yet.
I'm like, but do you need a hug? Are you trying to tell me you need a hug? And you're like, no, I'm good. I'm like, no, yes, you are. You need a hug. Just say, hey, Jeena, can I get a hug? And we talked about this at therapy.
Yeah.
Just
That's
say
the
what
voice.
you want.
That's the
instead
voice
of
right
just
there. We
always-
finally got it.
yeah, there you go.
Got it
Instead
out
of
of
just
her.
ask me, do you want a hug, Jeena? Obviously, if I wanted a hug, I would ask you for it. You already know I have no problem asking for what I want. So you're the one that needs a hug. And just say you want the hug.
Yeah, I don't need one though. I'm okay.
Well, I
Oh
want to know.
Yes.
What do we do when we fight? I don't think I've ever said we've had a fight about a hug necessarily, but
But
like,
you will try to cut the tension by saying like, let's take a second, let's hug.
I'll make a wildly ill-timed joke to try
I
and cut the
hate
tension.
that.
Often.
Oh my God. I thought that was just
When it-
my husband.
When
I'm
it
sorry.
works though, bro, when it works, it works.
Oh, I
Like,
doubt that it works though. It
When's
probably
the
makes
last
him
time
more
it worked?
angry,
That's
right?
it. It's
And
like
it feels
you
like
take
he's
it
like
seriously.
like
When's
he's
the last time
ignoring
it
the
worked?
problem at hand, or
Exactly.
he's making it little. It
Yes,
makes like it
you're
feels like you're
belittling
making the
the
problem
issue.
at hand little, and you're like you don't care.
Are we
Yes.
fighting now?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
All right, so get ready for a wildly ill-timed joke. We're gonna get deported today, I think.
Yeah.
We're getting deported.
Oh man.
It's tough though, right? Because, you know, even when it comes to fighting, like you want to teach your kids like how to we're going to have arguments all the time, right?
Yeah.
Throughout life, it is inescapable. And no one has a life so smooth it's bereft of argument, right? And so teaching your kids like how to have healthy arguments,
Yes.
how to compromise when you do not need to compromise, for instance,
Yeah.
like with bodily autonomy, for instance.
How to make a proper apology. It's not, I'm sorry that you feel this
I'm
way.
sorry if.
It's, I'm sorry if. I'm sorry that I did X
Uh-huh.
and that it made you feel Y. Here's what I'll do next time.
Oh, have you taught your child how to accept the apology? Not to say it's okay.
Ooh.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
I have
I
not.
accept your apology. I don't accept your apology. I'm not ready to hear your apology
Oh,
right
yes, yes,
now.
yes,
Stuff like that.
yes.
We had to teach our kids. It's hard too when you hear your kids fighting. Like, I'm sorry, I don't accept your apology. And it's hilarious because you hear the fighting upstairs and you're just giggling. But someone's truly hurt and you're just like TT, and then you have to go upstairs. What's happening? It's important to teach them all that, and also teach them like fighting is okay too, because I think that was one of our issues. Like because we go to therapy, we love therapy.
How long have you been going to therapy for?
How many years now? We go like
And is this individually, together, both?
together.
So together has
And
been
individual.
off and on for years.
Yeah.
Because we moved around a bit, and that is, and COVID just killed. Like, I think
COVID
did,
killed full stop, but like COVID also killed
but
that.
like therapy, I think it really was detrimental
Hard.
to
It's
in-person
different.
therapy.
It's different
Yeah.
online.
Yeah, it is.
It's different.
And so we definitely did therapy before COVID.
After
COVID, there was a break, and then after, we've been doing therapy about 1.5 years.
I think it's the reason too why I feel like we've been doing so well. Not to say like I think we do well in general, but like learning how to communicate because we're like two different people,
Sure.
two different upbringings. And like I was brought up in a very different household than he was. And it was like therapy helped us understand a lot about each other.
Anything to enhance communication between each other.
And we don't use it as a way to fix anything. Like it
So
was never.
That's what I was about to say. It's
Yeah.
kind of weird
Yeah.
sometimes
It's
going to
preventative.
therapy.
It's like changing the oil on your car.
Yes.
Yeah, it
change
is.
the oil.
Because we would sit there and the therapist be like, "Okay, why are y'all here?" And we're like, "Well, because we love each other and we want to communicate better." And she makes
like,
me
you're
mad
not on, like,
sometimes. And she's like,
So you're not divorcing?
"Okay, let me figure out how to deal with this." Like,
It's really funny.
you know, no, because we're not talking about divorce. We're not talking about separation. Like, we're talking about things that like could lead to that,
Sure.
right? And
Yeah.
stuff like that, and working through values,
Like
and
this 8-day
who we
cruise,
are and how we
maybe. I
change.
don't know.
Potentially, what?
Well,
That sounds like a virtual therapy
I'm glad you
appointment to
brought
me.
that up too.
I won't lie.
This shit, there's no internet.
I looked up Virgin like cruises,
Yeah.
and like it's like super like Gen Z like
Oh,
and like
Embrace it.
clothing's optional. And
Yeah.
I was like, I probably wouldn't be married if I went on that and came back. So we're going on another cruise.
I don't think you'd go back. Gina would hire someone to push you overboard.
Yeah.
Probably.
This is White Lotus season 3.
See, no, I wouldn't. I would pay somebody under the. I know I wouldn't do it. That was a very uncomfortable laugh.
Okay, I was waiting for the in my journal. I wrote it out. Oh, where's that? So, one thing I did want to talk with you guys about that I feel like is very cliche for interracial couples. But one thing I think I had a hard time and didn't quite understand what people were really meaning and how to take the conversation and stuff is when they would ask me like why I married Jeena. And they were specifically saying, I can see Gina's black and you're white. Why did you decide to marry a black woman?
Is that the question, or are they asking why
It was pretty much.
specifically Jeena?
It was pretty much the question. Why did you decide to marry a black woman? And that was really hard
What's
for
the
me.
intent of the question? Like, is it curiosity? Are they asking out of like love and curiosity?
You know, I got it from all intents.
Sure.
I think I could tell some were like intent of like curiosity. Just like I never thought. I've gotten a lot. I never envisioned you'd be married to a black woman. Like in the workplace, I would work for people with years before they would see my family. It just wouldn't open up to them. It'd just be like work relationship. And then like Jeena would come up to bring me something for food. And they'd get one of two reactions. Either my white coworkers would just be like, that's your wife? Oh, okay. Like, and then there would be like, they really be thinking through it and there'd be conversations later.
With
like,
you
tell me
or
more-
behind your
with
back?
me.
Him, never me.
With me, never with you. Or my black coworkers would be, oh, dang, Drew. Like, oh, look at you go. And then we're best friends, you know? And so, and there's like hate and love with both of those, right? But it always threw me off because like I know I have some like subtle racisms and stuff that I've had to work on myself, but generally not being a racist person, it was hard for me to really answer and dig down deeper in the beginning of like, why, like, I never thought of marrying. Yeah, I never thought of marrying you because you're black. So when someone asked me that, it was so off for me to be like, do I take this offensively? How do I answer this? And obviously answer it just with why I did marry Jeena, because of her personality, because I fell in love with her, because like the bright shining star that I felt.
My booty.
She was your booty. Like those
comment.
curves.
Body.
Like there was
It
a
is.
physical attraction, there was a spiritual attraction. Like she's super intelligent. Like we carry on conversations and those kind of things. So, but then thinking back to those conversations, I think, wow, how many of those people asked me because of their like subtle racisms that they had, and did I do a good job? And like you were saying, Kolter, earlier, like you call people out on that stuff now, and like I don't know if I even registered what was there to call out.
It's also
You
taken. I
know.
mean, I think we've both been in relationships. Like we've been together for 14 years. I think you've been together probably maybe
12
even
years?
longer than that, something like that. We've been together so long that like any new person that enters my life, And also, like, it's very different. It's very different doing what we do, right? We're very public, and you can, like, you see what we post online. I've been doing radio for 10 years, and although you can't see radio, it's an auditory medium. You know, like, social media has been coupled with that since I've been doing it, and there's not really a shock. When I was in high school, for instance, and had dated a couple of black women, I would have people call me, like, slur lover. I would get that. And, like, it sucked then. It's, like, beyond sucked. It's like it's abhorrent. It was abhorrent then. It's abhorrent now. And it's also, it's some people, when they say that, I think they think they're attacking me, but, like, they're not. They're actually attacking Dominique. And if people say that to you, they're actually attacking Jeena. Because when it comes to white privilege, we're able to extricate ourselves, not intentionally necessarily, but we are able to, like, cleave ourselves apart. Whereas you're unable to do that. You're unable to do that. And so it's just like, I don't think you guys swear on this podcast like we do on ours, so I'm not going to do that. But it is a word that starts with S that it sucks. It's sucky.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it so much. And as much as it affects me, it's calling into question your humanity, your right to
like,
be
what was,
a
like,
human.
Oh, like, why is she?
Why her?
Yeah, why her? And that sucks because I don't think. I mean, there's a reason because it's not like, oh, like, why her, like, education-wise or anything. We have the same education. Yeah, it's legit just because of the color of...
You got early
that's
acceptance.
it.
I got
That's it.
waitlisted.
Like, let that be known. But I'm also wondering...
I have a higher GPA, though.
If you've ever considered... Like, was there anything in your mind that made you nervous about getting into a relationship with Jeena?
Honestly, I was pretty ignorant. And I think that comes from, like, white privilege of not having to have those safety nets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I just fell in love with the person she was and just went for it, you know? And so the only time I really remember being nervous, like, that of different races marrying is when I had to ask her dad for, like, her hand in marriage.
How did that conversation go, by the way? And how long had you been together at that point?
you guys don't want to
3
know.
months.
Whoa.
3 months. So
Shout out to you.
Damn.
Homeboy
Homeboy works quick.
We had known each other for a while, but, like, dating, like, saying, hey, will you be my girlfriend? And to, like,
3
asking her
months.
dad was like,
Wow.
What did you say, by the way?
actually, it's probably about 2 months because I had to propose after that. But
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, the conversation with her dad went phenomenally well. Like, and that's what I was nervous is like, and I got it out there. Like, I just wanted to be very point blank. I was like, hey, Francine, is it a problem that I'm white?
Wow.
Like, I just asked him that straight up because I just wanted it to be out there. Like, it's obviously you can see it. I didn't want to try to, like, hide around it or, like,
There
to
are
me that was
thing about,
to
like,
me
being
that
able
was
to talk
silly.
with you.
You know, to me that was silly to try to be like, you know. So I was just out there, like, and I asked him point blank, is it okay that I'm white?
Nice.
And I mean, I'll always remember his answer. He says, Drew, like, I don't care what color you are, but you better treat my daughter well. She always has a home here. You mess up, she has a home here. I want you to always remember that. So for him, it was just about you treat her well, and that's it. If not, she has a home here. She's my daughter. And I, like, always loved that response. So that was, like, his response to me.
It also sounds like you have a really good dad.
I
That's awesome.
do. I really, like, I don't mess with my mom. Me and her don't talk, but my dad literally has been through thick and thin for me. He loves me. I mean, even now we're fighting right now, but I, like, love my dad because there have never been a time where if I feel like I called him, he wouldn't be there for me. And that has been really, really nice. And also to the relationship, Drew and my dad, we've been fighting, and you know who he calls? Not me. Calls him.
You got to talk to Jeena for me.
Yeah, that's legit what he did. So you need to talk to Jeena. Like, me and her not talking. You need to tell her she needs to call me, kind of. And I'm like, no, this is not how it's gonna work. You have a phone. You can pick up. You can call me. This whole, like, misogynistic, patriarchal thing that you're doing. Not okay. If you have a problem, which I know you have a problem, you should call me and not because I'm like, I love calling my dad out, and I love it. Even recently, I was talking to him about something about, like, how when we were kids, why didn't he ever just explain things to me? I was like, I was a good kid. I was not like my sister who was sneaking out of the house. You knew I was going to be following the rules. It would have been really nice for you to explain things to me. That's all I needed. I didn't need you to change the rules. I needed to understand. Yeah. And he's like, you're right. I was like, okay, thank you.
Wow.
Which I was surprised. Oh, no, I was real
15
surprised.
years too late.
I was like, all this therapy bills, you could have seen me a whole bunch of years. It was a long time ago. But he was like, no, you're right, which felt so good to hear. And he's like, you're right, I should have explained more. I was like, I really didn't want you to change any rules. Because a lot of the rules that he implemented as when we were kids, like, Caribbeans, no sleepovers.
Oh, period.
I did not understand that. Living in the U.S., everybody's having sleepovers. All these girls like, you want to come over? I'm like, yes, I do.
I will never be able to. No.
Right? And I wanted so badly to do it. And then whenever I would ask, no.
Because it's my house.
My
it's
house.
my rules.
That's not explaining anything.
Yeah.
Why though?
Yeah, why? And that's all I needed. And then I was like, Dad, I'm just going to say, I know you did things the way you needed to because I know, like, us being Haitian and Caribbean, like, there was a reason why. I was like, I understand now as an adult, but as a kid, I didn't understand.
Yeah.
And even now, we don't have sleepovers. We do layovers.
Yeah, the layovers.
Yep, we do layovers.
We were talking about that on the car on the way here. I'm like, yeah, this kid's never having a sleepover, and I don't want her sleeping anywhere else. And
After adopting and talking to so many social workers, no, you don't. You never want to have your kid at someone else's home. I promise you, the stories that we've heard.
It's just too risky. Like, even when we were living in Texas, and there was a huge scandal there where these kids.
I mean, Texas has been in the news a lot. You'll have to narrow that down, I think.
This was a
But
couple
and
years
Florida,
ago.
man, you know?
But basically, these kids had invited the black kid over for a sleepover and, like, just totally bullied him all night and just made his life
a
terrible.
living hell, yeah.
You know, and it technically wouldn't happen if he wouldn't have been at a sleepover, you know, in that instance and stuff like that. And so it
And you've just like, you've undone a child.
Yeah.
And technically, that mother did nothing wrong because sleepovers are part of the American
childhood,
culture.
exactly.
And so she did nothing wrong because that child probably really wanted to go.
Absolutely.
And
You
it's
want to
hard
feel
saying,
accepted. You want to feel like you're
Yes.
just part of the gang, right?
and I understand because even me or us, every single time they ask us to like go over a friend's house and sleep over, I want to say yes so bad, but I also like I want to protect my child so bad. And it's not even to say like that other mom didn't want to protect her child.
Sure.
Like I'm never going to shame another parent for like their choices because I do not inherently think that. I think you're a bad parent if you allow your child to go sleep over at someone's house, right? But I also like that's just not a risk that I want to take, and it's so hard because it's just like your kids want it, they want to do it, and their other friends are doing it, and you want them to feel a part of the whole community and their friends and stuff. They want, but it's just like I can't say yes. I can't say yes, especially with like we have black kids. No way. No way. Because you hear the stories, you hear the news, and like even that one's not the first time I've heard of something like that. I mean, have you ever heard of there was like a group of moms?
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about? That one, to this day, I don't understand how.
She died, right?
She died, and all this footage is lost, and they're just like, well, no, like, we know what happened, and it's hard to think like, oh man, like my child could be put in that situation.
You're getting emotional now. I can see it.
Because it's supposed to be. There's so many people who are like, I think you're taking something away from your child. You're ruining their life, and they think that without thinking about how the fact that my black child can go in somebody else's home, and I don't know how they feel about my child or people of our race, and they will treat them differently. I've been in homes as an adult. I think back. I had a friend. And her mom would ever single me out. Said I couldn't go into her car. We went to the same church. And there was the three of us. And I remember this woman only ever like not inviting me, like allowing her to like come in her home or whenever I was. She would always point out how I like accidentally like got water into her house when it was raining one day. Everybody else did, but it was only me. I left something in her car. It was her precious Lexus. And she's like, I never want Jeena in my car. And she always singled me out and made me feel other. I know now why. I know why. Like it was the three of us, right? So our other friend who was white, and she loved her and would always have her over. And every single time I would go into my friend's house, I felt so uncomfortable. And I'm like, I do not want that for my child, but I definitely don't want that for my child. If someone is willing to make a child feel that way, what else could they do if they're angered enough? If it's like you catch them at the wrong time. And so that's why I don't want sleepovers. That's why I will go into like people's homes and like say stuff and stuff like that. And even now with us on social media, so many people know about us that when people are like, oh, yeah, like we have a neighbor, I don't even care at this point, but like we have a neighbor who like hasn't invited our kids to like birthday parties. And like we have been very like particular about inviting them to our house, and we don't allow our daughter or our kids to go over to their house either. And it was really awkward for a really, really long time. I'm like, I have no idea why.
Kids.
Yeah. I'm like, they're kids, but I'm like, there's a reason. Like, it's not just the kids and stuff like that. And we started telling our kids, like, they can't go over to their house. I just don't feel comfortable. And it's hard because, like, your kids are like, I don't know. Like, why, Mom? Why?
Yeah, they're innocent.
And so it's just kind of like, it's gotten to the point you just can't take the chance
and then
anymore.
You just learn to trust those intuitions and instincts because then one of the other neighbors had a birthday party and it was like a pool party kind of fun water slide thing. We go over, the neighbors Jeena's talking about that just it's off. Their kids like literally just went down the slide one time and then we came over and then the dad's like, we got to go, let's go. And the kids are like, what do you mean?
Because the
like,
water's like contaminated.
they're
or
like,
something
we just got here. Like he's like, let's go. And like didn't say one word to anybody else, and they just like
They
left.
did very awkwardly say something to me.
Oh, did
hey,
they?
how are you doing? But it's like it's not like the genuine kind of conversation that you had. It felt very like awkward kind of thing. I was like, oh, we're doing good. Oh, okay, it's nice to hear that. Okay, cool. But it's just like, it's like that. And then we've had our next door neighbor. They moved away, and can I just tell you, it like our kids were like, yeah, no, it's they talk to everybody
It's
else
like
on
this
the
white
street.
flight thing, right?
Yeah, and they moved away. I'm pretty sure because of us, but like they talk to every single neighbor on the street except us and the neighbor to the left of us. But we're the interracial couple, and the couple to the left of us are Hispanic, but he talked to everyone else but us too. So when they moved, we're like, we know that it was because of us, and there's nothing else you can do. It just happens, and we are very blunt with our kids. We have to be blunt. I don't want to
they're gonna learn.
Yeah, they're gonna learn, and I'd rather them learn from me instead of them not wondering and not understanding.
Absolutely.
And then later on figuring out, because that sucked for me. Feeling the awkwardness in my friend's house, not understanding why I was treated always different. And then as an adult, understanding why I was always the one that was singled out, why I wasn't allowed to be in her car. Because she said it was because I left a bag of chips in her car. But like, really, was it that?
Throw out the chips then.
Like, really, was it that?
Yeah.
Like, and I know it wasn't that, but it was hard as an adult to look back and think, oh, I was really singled out. I wasn't allowed to like do certain things, or whenever I did do something, she would like say it in a sarcastic, mean way, and it sucked, and I don't want my kids to have to go through that. Will they go through it? Yes, I know they will. I can't protect them from everything, but I can try my hardest for them to understand and be that person that they can come to and talk to, and I'll always validate and I'll always support them when they come to talk to me about it.
And they'll have to understand this so much younger than I would have or you would have growing up, right? By virtue of being, I mean, a boy as well, right? This whole like boys will be boys kind of thing, but also like being a white boy. You just like, you don't have to think about these things. You don't have to, and like white boys can be very mean to other white boys, let's be honest. Right. Especially when you're like 70 pounds and 5'11" in the 11th grade and you are super obnoxious and make jokes all the time. People don't really like that, but when you have black children, you have to, very, very specific, very specific. And have one day in drama class, Billy came up to me. They just have to learn it so much younger, right?
Has your daughter had to? Not yet, or
not yet. Honestly, we've been super, super, super lucky that so far, like all the daycare she's attended have been multicultural. Her teachers, she's had a diverse range of them, and so like. Here's the thing. I knew raising a multiracial child that I was going to have to teach her two sides. I'm going to have to teach her like part of her black identities that she's going to experience certain things. She's going to experience racism. People are not going to like her purely based on who her mom is, what she looks like, et cetera, et cetera. There's also the fact that Nia appears white passing as well. If she's standing beside Kolter, you may not guess that she's black. If she's standing beside me, I don't know. It's kind of like blue eyes.
Maybe you're the neighbor, which I get a lot too.
Hey, right? I haven't got that yet, and I hope I never do. I'm so sorry that
Well,
happened.
If you want to
but-
knock them out, I'll be there to bail you out, or
trust
I'll be there to
me.
fight them too.
Listen.
Just like,
Like that's another thing. It's like, well, why wouldn't you think I'm this child's mother? And let me ask you if you've ever gotten this, because we get this still all the time: the separate checks at restaurants. Separate checks at
always.
restaurants.
I don't think you notice it, but I haven't. I haven't talked to you about that. But
It's like, we're like-
so often,
wow.
Mary. I'm like, I
making
have
out
a
at the
ring on my
table.
finger.
I slapped his ass
so
on the way
obvious,
in.
and you still don't think we're together? Like, why wouldn't we be together?
Like they must think I'm the mistress or something. You've never
Yeah.
noticed it.
Well, and then when we lived in Dubai and worked in Dubai for a couple of years, and
no. Huh.
people would assume that like Dominique was a sex worker, and there's nothing wrong with
Ain't
sex
nothing wrong
work.
with sex workers.
But like, why is that your
But why
immediate?
assume that?
Yeah, exactly.
What is it? Is it because he's white and I'm
Yeah.
black that I must be?
Or we're in a store together, like we're in Sephora. and
Hopefully
this-
they save face and they're like, she's just too pretty for you. Like,
Well, I mean, we all know that, right? I've had a bit of a glow up, but we still know that.
Oh, I've seen those pictures.
Or like, yeah, haunting. Imagine being inside of that body. But like, we'd go to Sephora, which was before my skincare journey, and it's
You
clearly
got a
like.
skincare journey.
I got him all the way up. Don't worry.
It's
The
clearly,
glow up is very real.
I'll
think
stand
it's-
up in front of the camera and turn around. You can see that too. The booty is bootying. We'd be in Sephora, and like I'm not there for me. I'm like bumbling in because I was at another store and I'm meeting you there.
Sure.
And none of the staff members would have a single moment for Dominique. But the second I come in, suddenly it's, "Sir, what can we get for you? What do you
Yeah.
need?"
But I think that's the difference between the people that are asking that and the people with lived experience with it.
Yes.
Because you have lived experience that you just you understand it better. Whereas like coming in, like we talked about before, my stepdad in the past, ex stepdad now, but like he would say things. that I
Fire the
was just-
stepdad.
What's
No,
that?
we really
Yeah.
talked to my,
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
He was
mother-in-law. I
definitely
said,
racist, small town, Alabama, and because he had a black friend, he wasn't racist. Kind
Well,
of
I
deal.
mean, to be
You know what
fair,
I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
come on.
absolutely.
like that
Absolutely.
keeps you from being
all you need.
racist. But he would say things, and my initial thing for Jeena was just like, well, maybe like he was having a bad day, or maybe like, you know what I mean? Like I would just justify it because
Yeah.
I was just like, well, maybe it is that one-off experience,
Sure.
maybe. But Jeena with her like lived experience is just like, no, you don't understand. Like this is the MO. This is typically what I've gone through. This
Yes.
is
But
how.
what did he do? What? Because you know I'm always right, right? That was that was like probably the beginning. This is the beginning of a marriage where he started realizing Gina's always right. So tell him what he did.
It's like
Well,
the
he-
it's like the end of
what
a
he
thriller
did,
where
I
it all
had to,
comes
like,
together.
Like hang my head down and be like, you're right. Okay. You're right.
Go
okay.
ahead, tell him, baby.
Bruce Willis was dead the whole
So-
time.
So his son was going to prom and brought a lady of color home, right, for prom, or just told him. I can't remember which. it
No,
was.
so he
Did
just
bring
his
her
son
over
just
or
basically
told
said,
him?
"Hey, I'm going to take this girl to prom."
Okay, and showed
and
a
then
picture.
he showed her a picture.
That's it. So he said, "I'm going to take this girl to prom." Showed a picture. Is
Probably like look at like maybe she was attractive. She was like, oh
no, it's
good,
like a
your
pretty
son's not doing
black
so
girl,
bad, right?
and he was like,
she was like
that-
one of, like,
he
re-
was like, the hell you are. He's like, you can move out of my house before you take her to prom.
Wow.
And he's like, "I will disown you if you take her to prom
Yeah.
when you date her or whatever."
This wasn't even like
and we were
mar-
married
this-
too.
Yeah, we were already married. This wasn't like marriage for his son or any. This was like literally
was,
like
prom
we're going
dates.
to prom, and he's like, "I will disown you. Like you
Wow.
will be out of my house." And I was just like, "I guess you were right, Jeena." Like,
So once we heard that, I told
You
my
know.
mother-in-law, "We will never come to your house ever again." Right? And your grandkids will never step foot in your house. If you want to see them, you are allowed. You can come to our house or we can meet somewhere.
Alone.
Right? Yeah, alone. He's not
Yeah.
invited to any of like events, family activities, birthday parties, nothing. If he comes, I will call the cops. I do not care if it's going to hurt your feelings. I do not care what you're going to say. This is a boundary that is going to happen. And she's like, she really like tested us. So she's like, "No, can you come? What do you mean? No.
But that's important too, that the two of you were together in that and agreed. Like,
Oh,
United
yeah.
front.
we're exactly a united front, had this boundary, and the both of y'all had to agree.
Oh,
that
so
you were gonna
knew.
hug
But-
up.
but I mean, that's one thing too that I think if we weren't on that same page to be able to do that, I don't know if we would work because there would be a lot
Oh, you
less
know I
trust
would've left
between
you.
us. Yeah. Well, no, exactly.
would've
Because
left you.
like if Gina's feeling uncomfortable or anything, she's like, I'm uncomfortable. Like in the moment and stuff, like we're together, be like, okay, we're uncomfortable, let's leave. But then later I'm going to be like, why were you uncomfortable? Like, I don't quite understand. And we have that conversation instead of having it there and being like, you're fine. Like, you don't have to be uncomfortable.
that's fine.
Like,
Minimizing,
fine,
right?
too.
And you're
Yeah,
like being dehumanized by one member of your family. I don't need to also be dehumanized by
Or the
my
person
husband.
that's supposed to be there for me
Yeah.
and care for me.
the thing too, when you have kids and stuff like that, like
You
can't like people can have redemption arcs, right?
Sure.
Like people can be racist and then flip that over, and there can be redemption arcs, but it's not worth the safety of our kids
And
trying
your
to-
marriage.
trying to help
Yeah.
someone through a redemption arc.
Yeah.
Not,
anything
not
like
making
that,
your
you know?
child the guinea pig.
They have the
Yes.
internet. They have access to books.
Yeah.
They can they can do the work on their
Yes.
own.
Yeah.
Don't let someone else like hop on the back of your marriage to try to keep afloat, right?
Because the only thing they're going to do is sink you both.
Yeah.
Sink you both. And like that's I think a lesson for anyone in a marriage.
Yes.
Right? If someone is doing something wrong, even if you don't completely understand it or even if you don't completely agree, you're on your spouse's side.
Yes.
Just be on your spouse's side, because if you allow that other person like to truly get in your head, it's not going to make anything
It's
better.
poisonous.
You got together when you were quite young as well. So we were married at 23.
Yeah.
And so it was for our parents, family, friends, everybody, it was difficult starting to see us as like a legit marriage. It was like, oh, it's Dom and Kolter. They're young. They're dating, whatever. So seeing when we were never finally like the legit married couple. So our marriage never fully received that respect. Right. So honestly, so then when it came to a point where like you're saying, always take your partner's side, that doesn't mean you're always going to agree on anything, on everything, I should say. But always support each other and never let someone come in disrespect. So even if he says something that I don't necessarily agree with, I'm not going to let my sister, as an example, say something to my husband that's disrespectful. In that case, I will defend him. Not that she ever would, but that as an example.
My husband, 57-year-old male, does not accept my son's 21-8-year-old female interracial marriage. Hi Reddit, I'm using a throwaway account for obvious reasons. Also, please note that this will definitely trigger some people as it contains some distressing content. Over the last 3.5 years, my son has been dating a smart, intelligent, friendly young woman who just happens to be black. They are clearly devoted to one another, and I have never seen him more happy. Together, their relationship seems like every other passionate, functional, and loving relationship. They are both well-educated, hardworking people. Recently, my son has brought up the topic of engagement with us, and my husband does not approve of it. This is all, how long were they together? This is all because she is black. Not only is this causing relationship problems between me and my husband, my son is also beginning to distance himself from us.
I mean, yeah.
My husband didn't seem to disapprove of the relationship when it started, but since the talk of engagement came up, he has been increasingly racist and disapproving of the relationship. Just yesterday, he gave me a 50-page booklet outlining all the crime statistics that interracial people commit. What?
Really quickly.
Wait,
The most shocking thing is that this guy can read.
Differences in intelligence, IQ, higher divorce rates, how and why misogynization is detrimental. Obviously, at this point, I was just completely shocked and disgusted. The last couple of days have been an argument over argument, and I'm just getting nowhere. He claims he's not racist, but says things like, I think I'm saying that, miscegenation with blacks.
Miscegenation, yeah.
Okay. With blacks destroys the evolutionary process, and how racial differences are based on fact and evidence.
Does he talk about, do you know what phrenology is?
I've
That's like
never
when
heard
people
of that.
would, if you've seen the movie Django Unchained, they talk about it, and it's like the differences in skull sizes and stuff like that, and it's just like, but
that's been all debunked,
he's
but
not
it doesn't
racist
matter.
though, right?
Yeah.
So
Personally, I completely agree with my son that he should marry whoever he loves and loves in return. I've been talking with my son, and he says he wants nothing to do with his father anymore. All this aside, my heart just breaks for my son's partner. I feel she has things hard enough during these times. This is literally tearing my family apart. I'm so exhausted and afraid. I was just hoping somebody here had a similar experience and could offer some advice.
dump the boomer, I would say.
Boom.
yeah. The question.
No, literally, like just done. See you later, or
Yeah.
not,
The question should be: do you know any good divorce lawyers?
or bad ones. Anything.
Yeah. It
Do
was
you know where I
my-
can find a big rock?
Yeah, my thing is interesting that like, did he think it would just be a fling and that's why he didn't say anything to begin with? To me, that's even more racist because you're willing for your son to like,
waste her time.
I get what you. Yeah.
it's like a sexualization of
Yeah.
black people too. Like it's okay maybe to have
Go have
flings
your
with them, or
fun. Yeah,
go
have
sue
your
your
This is
fun.
just an
boss.
object.
But now that you're getting serious, let's get serious, son. You know, this is something
Yeah.
else. You need something else.
I think you also have to ask yourself.
dehumanizing, I think, like you were
Yes.
talking about.
But if you're pulling like a 50-page booklet and like you're doing all of this
You're
research,
going out of your way.
like I think do you not wake up when you're like sweating and you're like on your computer at 3 a.m. and snap out of it for a second and go like, what am I doing?
What am I doing?
No,
What am
but
I
they
trying to
don't.
prove here?
We've
No, I
seen that
feel
time
like
and time
that's just
again.
like something
Fueling them.
he's had for a long time, and like his family just hasn't noticed because they haven't had interracial relationships and had to deal with it, right? Or it's like, because if you have two people, if you have two Drews at the beginning of our marriage, right, Jeena?
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't pick up on a lot of racial tones and stuff. So if you have two people like that aren't growing, that you know aren't exploring, aren't open-minded, and they just continue through life like that, like this is probably where they get. And then their son like dates somebody, and then they're like, one of them's the mom's okay because she sees the love of
Sure.
it, right?
Right.
And the father's just like, I don't
Feels
care if you love
threatened
her,
by
like
that.
Yeah,
I know from experience that someone who was making those comments was probably doing it before their son was dating a black woman,
not
right?
new.
Or got
It's
engaged.
locker room talk though,
Right?
right? It's just
No,
the
no, no, no.
guys.
But it's not until you're a child, it's like your child or someone close to you, then that's when things start to change, right? How many times have we seen people who are so anti like LGBTQ,
Trans or
right?
gay, for sure.
And then all of a sudden it's their child,
Oh, absolutely.
right? And then all of a sudden they're like, no, like it's different and it's my child. And now
Yeah.
and not to say that they shouldn't be there supporting their child and have that change of heart. Like that's good, right? But also you should have did it before.
you should care before it hits
Because
home.
it's always someone else's child.
Yeah. Yep.
It's always someone else's child. And so hearing that, I don't have any sympathy for the dad at all. I kind of also wish that the mom, because I know for sure that was not his first time. And even
Exactly.
she said he didn't really disapprove, but she didn't say he approved.
Exactly.
She was he was tolerating it. And she knew that.
And she was tolerating him.
She was
Yes.
tolerating him in that process too. So it wasn't until they got engaged and the mom knew how serious, because she loved, I think, not maybe loved, but she was really
seemed to like
excited
this girl,
for her
yeah.
son, right? And she was happy. And she also recognized her husband wasn't happy. But until they got engaged, she really realized, hey, this is going to be a problem, right? And let me try to figure out what to do. She should have been doing something way before because he did not approve. She said he didn't disapprove, which meant he tolerated. And I
Yeah.
know people like that. I'm tolerating you. I'm tolerating like whatever it is about
He's a
you.
good guy.
He's a good guy,
He means
whatever.
well.
No. It should not be like that. When you see that from the beginning, call it out, because you letting it go
Yes.
on for like longer.
Yeah.
It pretty much gave him the fuel he needed to kind of just be like, he felt like he was not in the wrong.
there's some serious thought, and he's thought this way a long time. And then now she only can't. She's always tolerated, but now she can't because it's not even that he's racist that she's upset about. She's not upset he's racist.
Exactly.
She's upset that she's going to lose her son over it. So she doesn't care that he's racist. At the end of the day,
She's actively pushing the son away though, by supporting the
yeah,
husband.
yeah,
Oh,
she
yeah,
is,
absolutely.
and that's why it's
Absolutely.
tearing her family apart because now she has to choose between her son and her husband.
There shouldn't be a
Yes.
choice.
If
There
she-
shouldn't be a
Yes.
choice. It should be a Reddit saying I have
I
to
left
leave
my husband.
I
Yeah.
have to leave my husband because he's a
Here's
he'd
why.
be racist. What's your advice? What do I do at this point? But
Yeah.
that's not it. It's because she's okay with racism. She's not
Absolutely.
okay with losing her son.
She's not okay with being held accountable.
Oh, so I would love for you guys to tell us, where can we find you? If any of our followers are listening, they can find you on your podcast, Playing House, and where else?
Dominique's gonna go first because she's got like 1,700 different
my
social
goodness.
Why are
media
you trying to
handles.
play her
so-
like that?
I
Why can't you be
really-
on her side? Why can't you
It's a
support
running
her?
joke on our podcast. Where can people find
Okay,
you?
on Instagram, it's dom.creates. I'm trying to get rid of that damn dot. But on every other platform, it's at domcreates.
And you can find me at Kolter Talks, Kolter with a K, across all platforms because hashtag cohesion. And
Call
good
me out.
planning.
Call me
And
out.
Kolter's a pretty rare name, so
It was great having you guys. Thank you so
It's
much
been
for
such a
being
pleasure.
here.
Thank you.
It's been amazing.